All right, let's get into it. Time to rank the Halloween films. And this is going to include Halloween Ends because we watched that. Now, you watched my review last week. I dropped it separately on YouTube. We did it live here. I didn't like it. Like Steph was saying, though, I think that it would work if it was the second movie, but not the final. It works for Halloween Kills or Halloween Infects, even. Like, it works for Halloween 2.5, Halloween Infects. And then Halloween Ends needs to be about the end of Halloween. Anyway, this isn't a rant about Halloween Ends. We've already done that. But now it's time to rank the Halloween films. There are 13 of these things. So let's just buckle our seatbelts, get in. At number 13, my least favorite Halloween film. At number 13, I'm going Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. This movie is so stupid to me. I'm watching it. I'm into it. I think it's okay. I don't mind it. And then they do that, oh, we're so clever. The whole first act of this film is a dream. And then we're going into another territory. They completely deconstruct Michael Myers here. And I get that that's what Rob Zombie's trying to do. I think he heard the criticism on the first film that he did, where he was trying to do his thing, explore the backstory of Michael Myers, and still remake the original, and maybe it didn't quite work. But I think he took that criticism and went too far in another direction, and this is a deconstruction of Michael Myers, but it's not super compelling to me. It feels long, feels boring. There are elements of it I do like. Danielle Harris is great. We love her. But at number 13, I gotta go Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie. At number 12, Halloween Ends. Y'all, I just watched this movie last week, so it's still fresh, it's still new. The pain, the hurt is still new. Now, I know that plenty of people out there, they're liking it. I'm happy for them. I love it when people love the movies they watch. And I hate it when I don't like the movies that I watch. And I hate it when I feel like I gotta talk about what I don't like about a movie. But it didn't work for me. It would have been fine, like I said, if it was maybe part 2 of a trilogy, but not the final part. It's not a Michael Myers story. It's not a Laurie Strode story. It's a Corey Cunningham story. What the fuck? Here's the thing. At least Halloween 3 Season of the Witch didn't promise to be the final Michael Myers story. They felt like they had already done that with Halloween 2. Right? So you can tell me that they're just trying to replicate that. I get it. Don't call the movie Halloween Ends. Call it Halloween Infects. Corey. Because that's what it is. So, that being said, still pretty low on my list, but not the worst one. So at number 12, I've got Halloween Ends. At number 11, Halloween Resurrection. I said this last week when I said I like Halloween Resurrection better than Halloween Ends. Even though Halloween Resurrection, and I stand by that, obviously, because it's number 11, but even though, just like Halloween Ends promises something that it doesn't deliver on, so does Halloween Resurrection. So, I would have been cool with this movie if it was about these, like, teens, early 20-somethings, on this, like, paranormal show. They wind up, someone does some real magic or something, and actually brings Michael Myers back. And we have a supernatural resurrection. I would have been cool with that, even with all the hijinks. Because the movie does have some good cheese in it. The movie is incredibly cheesy and of its time. And a really bad follow-up to H2o. It's a terrible movie. But I can have fun watching it. Those other two movies, the last time I watched Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie and Halloween Ends, they pissed me off. Last time I watched Resurrection, it didn't piss me off as much anymore. I can have more fun with it, but it's still not a good film. So at number 11, I got Halloween Resurrection, and this is the worst Laurie Strode in any of the movies. At number 10, I'm going 2018's Halloween. Now, I know a lot of people loved this movie. And I'm a big John Carpenter fan, so I love the idea that he's like, they were never meant to be siblings, Michael and Laurie. I wish we could we felt like we needed to do a twist in Halloween 2. I wish we could undo that. And there's a piece of me, snobby Robbie, that wants to be like, yes, the director's vision, we need to go back to where she's just someone. Okay, but here's the thing. If Laurie is just someone and not the sister, then Michael needs to be focused on other things. I did not like the opening of this movie where these podcasters come in, provoke this fucking dude so he escapes. I don't like how this town seems to be overreacting to a 40-year-old murder. There have been murders in my town, multiple murders. We don't all gather around in the bar at night singing about it every fucking Halloween. I don't know. Maybe it's different for other people, but I felt like this movie, everything it tried to do, H2O had already done. So I was one of those people that didn't really like this movie when it came out. It's okay. It's middle of the road. It's got great music. But it doesn't win me over. It's not something I really like. There are other Halloween films I really like. So, that being said, at number 10, I've got the 2018 Halloween. I know that's higher on other people's lists. At number 9, I'm going to Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. And we're not talking about the producer's cut or anything like that. The producer's cut is dog shit. There's an element of me that does like The Curse of Michael Myers. But on my last viewing, I was like, this is not a good movie, right? I don't really, in hindsight, really like the Cult of Thorns stuff. The stuff I like the most about the middle part of this franchise is the Jamie stuff, is the daughter of Laurie. I like Danielle Harris, like as a kid actor, playing this role. I felt like what they did in Revenge was whack, and what they did in this one was even more whack. They didn't even have Danielle Harris here. There was something going on where she wasn't 18 yet, and the hours they needed her to work, like she needed to be 18, so she became an adult. She legally became an adult, and then they already moved on or something like that. I hate what they do to the character of Jamie and Curse. I like Paul Rudd in it. I like the kills. I like some elements of this film. I do kind of like the final act of the theatrical cut that we got, not the producer's cut. However, I hate what they did to Jamie. And Jamie is like, I don't know. I think I may be more compelled and engaged by Jamie's story than Laurie's story in these movies. So I don't know. But Curse of Michael Myers it doesn't do it for me as much on repeated viewings. There are things I like about it, but for the most part, it falls flat. I do not like what they did with the character of Jamie. So number 9 goes to Curse of Michael Myers. At number 8, Halloween Kills. All right. Act 2 of this movie is kind of a mess. Or like half of Act 2 is a mess. Like, let's take out all that hospital mob evil dies tonight shit. This is a movie where Mike Myers is a fucking beast. He's killing people. He's slaughtering the town of Haddonfield. They're in chaos because of it. It is Slash City, and it's got, in my opinion, the best music in the entire franchise. I actually like Halloween Kills. I hate the Evil Dies Tonight hospital mob shit. That's so stupid. I hate it. But I actually really like the rest of this film. It holds up for me too. I like it. So it stays up there. It's at number 8. You know, it's middle of the road. At number 7, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I am shocked as well. I put this list together and these graphics together earlier today, like when I first woke up. And now here I am a couple whiskeys in, and I'm rather puzzled as to why this movie made it to where it was. But I had to think about it. And I'll say this. Having recently on Dylan's Horror Show, and I'm not necessarily a fan of Rob Zombie's movies. I love White Zombie, and I love Rob Zombie's music for the most part. It's like, Hellbilly Deluxe. I like that album. I haven't really honestly listened to any other of his solo music. And Astro Creep 5000 or 3000, whatever it is, with More Human Than Human. That was my first White Zombie album. I loved that album. So anyway, that being said, we recently did the Firefly trilogy on Dylan's Horror Show. And I was really surprised at how much I really did like House of a Thousand Corpses. I hadn't seen it since I first watched it in the theater, and I didn't like it at the time because I thought it was just very derivative of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it is, but there is a style and identity there that I really like. Devil's Rejects, I didn't like as much as the first time I watched it. And 3 from Hell I watched for the first time, and I did not like that one. But when I think about Rob Zombie's Halloween, I don't like the exploration of Michael's background. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's needed. That being said, I do appreciate that Rob Zombie was trying to do something different. And now people are saying this about Halloween Ends. I appreciate that they're trying to do something different. Well, I appreciate when you're trying to do something different for a relaunch or a reboot, not for the final bit of a whole saga. So that's the difference for me. I actually like Tyler Mane in this movie as Michael Myers. I don't necessarily think that the backstory is needed. I don't necessarily like the backstory that was chosen, but it is distinctively Rob Zombie. So as a Rob Zombie film, I think it's one of his better films compared to some of the others I've seen. So I guess for that reason, I'm going to put Rob Zombie's Halloween at number 7. Let's just leave it alone. Next time I do this is probably going to drop back. At number 6, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I love me some Jamie Lloyd. I love me some Danielle Harris. So I love these movies with her. My biggest fault with this movie, first of all, the mask isn't the best. I don't think it's the worst mask in the franchise, but it's one of the worst ones. Tina is kind of fucking annoying. I don't like what happened to Rachel. I don't like some of the decisions made. The most mind-boggling decision to me is that Jamie's not going to say anything this whole movie. I hate the reversion of a badass ending. The way Halloween 4 ends is one of my favorite endings in the franchise. I think it's my second favorite ending of the third favorite ending of the franchise. We'll get to that. But in the next movie, to discount, the ending in part 4 didn't happen. She can't speak. We're going through all this shit. We're killing the character you like. We are having more of the character you don't like. That being said, it fits that level of 80s, like late 80s slasher cheese that I like and respect. So I like it a little bit better than Curse, because I think some of the decisions were a little bit better. At least the Cult of Thorn stuff seemed a little bit more intriguing in this one. So I'll go number 6 for Halloween 5, but the mask is not the best. At number 5, Halloween 4, and these are the ones that I think are just top-notch badass. At number 5, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I'm a Jamie Lloyd fan. I'm a Danielle Harris fan. I've already said that. I love this fucking movie. I love it. This is how you do it. They have the misstep of Halloween 3. Regardless of what you feel about that film, it was a misstep critically and financially for its time. It has since found a cult following. We'll talk about it, obviously, in a little bit. This is how you do a return of Michael Myers. You don't have Laurie Strode. You have her daughter. You write her out. You bring in a new character. She's young. You can now build this franchise. You can do a movie every other year. You can be like Nightmare on Elm Street, but you can have this one character lead us through. We got 2 movies, really, with Jamie. 2.5, you want to count the beginning of Curse, but that was really fucked up what they did there. Even more fucked up in the producer's cut. That being said, Danielle Harris is amazing in this movie. Michael Myers is amazing. Loomis, who I haven't really mentioned that much lately, but now we're getting to his best performances here. This is one of my favorite Loomis performances. It is absolutely amazing. Donald Pleasance nails it. I love Halloween 4. And if I said Halloween 2018 tried to do things that H2O did better, Halloween Kills tries to do things that Return of Michael Myers did better. So we're in my true favorites now. So I got Halloween 4 at number 5. At number 4, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. You give me a horror film from the 80s with Tom Atkins, it's going to be one of my favorite movies. The first time I watched this movie, it wasn't in the 80s. It was like in the early 90s or something. And I had already heard that it wasn't a Halloween film, right? But I guess I was more prepared for that. But even then, I just didn't get it. This is one of those movies that every time I watch it, I love it more and more and more. I love the soundtrack. It's one of my favorites in the franchise. I love Tom Atkins in this movie. I love the idea It goes pretty far and bold. In all of these movies, a lot of these movies, it's Michael's trying to kill babysitters, but the kids aren't ever the targets necessarily. The kids are the targets in Halloween 3. I love it. I think it would have been cool to see an anthology develop out of this. However, I love the fact that we did do Return of Michael Myers, where we introduced Jamie Lloyd. I love that shit. But this movie really holds up for me. I think it's original. I think it's interesting. I think it's unique. I don't think there's anything like it now. It's a Druid, Samhain kind of take on things, but it feels different. It deals with techno magic, which is an interesting principle and idea, and throwing back to 1982 to do it on this level, I think it's a really great movie. So I know some people have their opinions, but for me, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is number 4. At number 3, Halloween 2. This is one that I don't know, man. I used to go back and forth on this. Like, I like Halloween 2 because I actually do love how it sets up the sister angle, which sets up some things to come in future movies, like Halloween 4, 5, and 6, and even 7. We haven't talked about that one yet. But I do like this film. The more I watch it, the more I appreciate the gratuitous gore and nudity in this film. It's one of my favorites because of that. Like, honestly, I think the hot tub scene is awesome. I love that shit. I think the kills are great. I don't necessarily care about any of the characters. I care more about the characters in the first one or other sequels than I do in this one, but they're just fodder to be killed. I love the idea of him stalking her in this hospital that nobody's at. I like that hospital setting because hospitals have always been unnerving and unsettling to me just in general. So I like the approach. It's more The Night He Came Home. Donald Pleasance is awesome in this movie. Might be one of his best performances in his entire franchise career for Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis is fine. The wig does throw me off at times. Once it got pointed out that she's wearing a wig, it did start fucking me up. She's underutilized in the film, but they do things in this film better that they tried to do in Halloween Kills. So, yeah, there's that. I love the hospital setting. I love the music. I love the tone. I love the way it's shot. I love the direction. I love Michael in this movie. They amp it up just a little bit. Not as sophisticated, but they still amp it up just a little bit. So, at number 3, Halloween 2. At number 2, Halloween H2o. Y'all, I love Halloween H2o. The first and only Halloween film I've ever seen in theater. I never went and saw 2018 in theater. I watched Halloween Kills last year here on Peacock. Same thing with Ends. And I missed out on Resurrection because I just had a bad feeling about that one, y'all. But anyway, and then when I watched that when it released on VHS or DVD, it was really, really bothersome. Anyway, so, excuse me. I love H2O. It gets criticized for being too Scream-oriented, but that's just what happens. When a game-changing movie comes out, like Scream in 1995, 96, and then you're going to have these imitators. So outside of Scream and Scream 2, all these imitators, Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, Valentine, those movies, out of all of those Scream imitations, the height of it is H2O. Because in H2O, we get back to Laurie Strode. We discount the Jamie Lloyd stuff, but in my headcanon, she faked her death and didn't know she had a kid. In my headcanon, I always felt like it existed at the same time. I always held out hope that we would see Jamie Lloyd meet her real mother, Laurie Strode. Apparently that just happened, and it didn't go well. That being said, I love H2O. I get that it's just a 90s Scream kind of ripoff, but I think they actually do it well because they honor the story of Laurie. They honor her trauma. They have elevated her. She has actually moved beyond it, but there is still something holding her back, some trauma inside that's still there with her overbearing nature towards her son, Josh Hartnett. I love this film. I love the setting. I love LL Cool J. I love all the kids. I love the murders. It's tame. But for 1998, it worked for me. And I remember going to the theater, and that is going to be an experience I always remember. It was like the first R-rated horror film I had seen on my own pretty much with my friends. I loved it. I was 17. So I was able to go. But I loved it. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It still holds up to me. I love the score. I know people like Drum Dums don't really like the score. I love what John Ottman does with the score there. I love his style. And when I fuck around with my Halloween theme on my synthesizer, I always play it in strings because I just think it sounds amazing. So my number 2 is Halloween H2o. And of course, number 1 is Halloween, the original. I mean, you can't beat that. This is what started it all. It helped launch John Carpenter's career. He'd already done some really solid movies. We're going through them right now. We just reviewed this film yet again a few weeks ago on Rockin Robbie Live because we're going through John Carpenter's filmography. We talked about the entire franchise last year on PCP Movie Night for Horror Fest. It was the finale. I love this original film. The way it's shot, the suspense, the tension, the editing, the sound design, everything about it soars. It is one of the most influential horror films of all time for a legitimate reason. And in fact, without it, we wouldn't be doing this silly-ass ranking. So at number 1, it's Halloween. So let's recap. At number 13, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. At number 12, Halloween Ends. At number 11, Halloween Resurrection. At number 10, Halloween 2018. At number 9, Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers. At number 8, Halloween Kills. At number 7, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I'm surprised too. At number 6, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. At number 5, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. These are the start of my true favorites. At number 4, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. At number 3, Halloween 2. At number 2, Halloween H2o. And at number 1, Halloween. So that's just my subjective ranking as of now. This ranking will always change. Halloween will always be number 1. For the most part, H2O is always going to be number 2. I have attachment to that shit. That's my ranking. What do you think? What are your rankings for the Halloween films? Let us know.